Dear learners, welcome back. We have already discussed the environment of NGOs. We have discussed the threats and opportunities related to the environment of NGOs. Now we come to a major part of the environment which will also form the basis for further analysis which we will be doing to measure the strengths and weaknesses and the opportunities and threats of the NGO environment. Now in this case we need to understand what is the mega environment. Though we have discussed the concept of mega environment, that is, it is a general environment and it is external in nature and it covers many aspects. But we'll be taking certain cases here, case situations here, and we'll discuss what are the major constituents of the mega environment and how these constituents are interrelated with each other. So when we talk about the mega environment, it is also called as general environment. There is a specific environment also, but mega environment is usually known as the general environment. And it is a segment of the external environment. This we have already seen in the previous sessions, and it reflects the broad conditions and trends in the societies within which an organization operates. Now, if it is an external environment, say, and this can be international, national, regional, local, whatever the case may be, depending on the working of the NGO. When we see the constituents of the mega environment and you see the graphical representation of this particular environment, you'll see that there are almost 5 elements which are associated with the mega environment. But if you see a particular section and you'll see that there is an economic environment, and you see economic environment is directly just linking down to the mega environment. Now this constituent is one of the major constituents, and another major constituent of this environment is the technological constituents. Apart from these, you'll see there is a regulatory environment, political environment, technological environment, social environment. So if we see the whole series, it is regulatory, political, economic, technological and social, and each and every environment is related to the mega environment. Now if you see the interlinkages in this graphical representation, you will see that economic environment is directly related to the mega environment, but then economic environment is related to the regulatory environment, economic environment is related to the social environment. In between you will see the arrows which depict that each and every environment is related to each other: regulatory to political, political to economic, economic to technological and technological to social. So all the environments are interrelated to each other, and one by one they are related to the mega environment in different formats. Political environments is directly related to the mega environment, technological environment is directly related to the mega environment, then social environment is related to the political environment, political environment is related to the technological environment. So you see all intercombination, interlinkages are given in this graphical representation of the mega environment. So this is whole mega environment. It's the broad outlook of the factors which exist in a general environment. Coming to the major constituents, we have discussed the constituents of mega environment like regulatory, political, economic, technological and social. But the major constituents of the mega environment are technological and economical in nature. So these are the major constituents, and based on these constituents, other constituents they occur and they are interrelated to form a mega environment. If we discuss the technological constituent, now the technological constituent, it reflects the current state of knowledge, which is basically related to the production of products and services. But to be very precise, technology is not things. We say computer is a thing and we say computer is a technology. No, computer is not a technology. Computer is a thing and it uses technology, it uses the knowledge base, whether it is in the form of hard disk or whether it is in the form of softwares. It is using that particular knowledge to access. It is a machine. Computer is a machine which processes the knowledge to give a certain output. So computer is a thing, but it uses the technology. So technology is a knowledge related thing. So technology is ever evolving and it adds on the past developments. Whatever the developments taking place in the past, it adds on to it. Now if you take a simple example, www, the World Wide Web services, it started initially, and slowly the internet evolution took place, and slowly it came into present form in 20 years or say 2 decades. So it has evolved on the past developments. Initially it was only www, then the emails started coming up, and then the search engines started coming up, then the linking of emails with the search engines started coming up. So all this is evolution, but everything is based on the past developments. Any kind of technology can help or destroy any organization. This is very, very important. Technology can help or destroy an organization. There are certain technological constituents, and if you see the course material which is available as the reference material for BMS 001, you'll find that there are certain concepts given in the course material, and one of the concept is as given by Bright in 1963, that there are 7 major areas of technological advances, and these 7 major areas are increased transportation capability, increased mastery over energy, increased ability to extend control life and serviceability, increased ability to alter characters of materials, extension of man's sensory capabilities, growing mechanization of physical activities, growing mechanization of intellectual processes. Now coming back to each one of them, you'll find that technological constituents, any of the technology, it increases the transportation capability, moving one thing from to another place, from one place to another place, you require transportation, and in this case the technological advances have been very, very helpful. And specifically for NGOs, these kind of technological advances are very important because they basically deal with certain kinds of transportation in not transporting the goods and services, but the transportation in terms of the services which it offers, from one part to the movement of volunteers from one part to the other part to explore the opportunities available, etc. So transportation capability is one of the technological constituents. Now increased mastery over energy, that means the technological constituents helps the organization to have you can say have power over the environment, existing environment of that particular organization. Increased ability to extend control life and serviceability. Technology helps in providing services in different formats. We'll take this example later in this session itself. And increased ability to alter characters of materials. Now in this case it is transformation role. It's like the matter can be transformed into a certain product. So it can be applicable for the manufacturing organizations or the organizations, even the non-profit organizations which are in the business sector, which are not for the profit making things but for the benefit or for the infrastructural facilitation of the NGOs itself. They may be manufacturing and supplying goods and services to other organizations. So that can be used as the ability to alter characters of materials. Then extension of man's sensory capabilities. Of course, people have become more intelligent, more knowledgeable because they can read a lot on the internet itself. So sensory capabilities have grown to a wide extent because of the exposure of technology. Growing mechanization of physical activities. This may be a bane, this may be a boon, it depends how you use it. But of course, the physical activities have been mechanized, or they are machine controlled, and even the intellectual processes are machine controlled, like artificial intelligence. And we would be taking one of the examples of this in this session regarding the technological constituent of the mega environment. Now, artificial intelligence, or AI, which is popularly known as AI, used as a mechanism for social good, for good causes. So there are a number of examples related to that, and specifically in NGO sector or in voluntary sector, not-for-profit sector, this mechanism is being used to a large extent to provide the services to the organizations, to the vulnerable, to the poor, to the distressed. What is AI? Basically, AI correlates the real information in the data and gives the outcome. A certain outcome is there. It looks at the data and it tries to find the relevant information to the outcome. Of course, it is related to the relevant environment also. It sifts the relevant information and the irrelevant information. So irrelevant information goes out, relevant information comes in, and then it finds similarities in the data and then tries to highlight it. For example, speech-to-speech translation for dialects. Now, if you see, if you're having a specific smartphone and you have a voice mechanism in it, so you can have a translator, inbuilt translator on that smartphone. So if you speak in Hindi and you want that particular sentence to be translated in English, it can be translated in English, and that is one of the mechanisms which is being used in artificial intelligence, and this has been very helpful in communication process also. This artificial intelligence can also be used to link the government to the local body to the voluntary sector. So it is government to the local body to the voluntary sector. So the whole chain is built and artificial intelligence is used. So there is the time consumed in materializing the particular service is reduced to a large extent, and it reaches to the end user on time and is beneficial for the society. A very good example of use of AI is automated medical guidance, and this particular concept, apart from the voluntary sector, it is being prevalent even in the non-voluntary sector in the present crisis situation. And of course, in the present crisis situation, AI or technology has become a kind of hands-on tool to be used by each and everyone. Everyone is connected to each other through technology in this crisis situation, where there is contacts are being less. It is a contactless world now. So this kind of automated mechanism is working in the present crisis situation. So in case of voluntary sector, if we are talking about, so automated medical guidance is one of the important use of artificial intelligence. This I am giving you only one example. There are a number of examples on machine learning or technology constituent of the mega environment being used in different formats, and that is why it is one of the major constituents. The public health system can use this to reduce the dependence on trained medical professionals, because it is very difficult in the rural base or in the interiors of the country to have highly skilled and trained medical professionals. This is where the role of NGOs comes into picture, and this is where the role of mega environment comes into picture. Again, now this is where the use of technology comes into picture. So the NGOs, they connect the rural masses to the medical professionals sitting in the urban areas, maybe in the urban areas, and they can connect with them for automated medical guidance. So rural places do not have highly skilled medical professionals, and that is why the NGOs can help them in providing automated medical guidance through the skilled and trained medical professionals who are willing to give their services to the poor or to the vulnerable. So this is a very beautiful use of technology constituent in the voluntary sector or for NGOs. So this is just an example of technology constituent. So there are certain organizations, I've given you the source of this data of these 6 organizations who have been using technology for social good to a large extent. You just can click on this link and you will find the whole detail of these organizations. And these 6 organizations is Akshay Path. It is using artificial intelligence for trying to find out the minimum possible route to provide the meals, midday meals to the children. So Akshay Patra is using artificial intelligence. DataKind is one of the voluntary organization which is trying to collect the data, and this is basically working for the human trafficking. And this is a beautiful organization which works which connects with the data, takes the data, connects it, and tries to control the situations related to human trafficking. There is Operation Red Alert also, and this organization also works using AI technology. So you can just go to the site and you can see the details about these organizations. Save Life Foundation is the universal foundation which works, which tries to save the lives in the the road accidents, and it tries to save the lives of people who encounter certain road accidents. So this is one organization which works on AI. Then Digital Green is there. It is related, of course, the name itself suggests it is related to the agricultural community. Then you have Video Volunteers also. This also works on technology, and it tries to capture videos of the distressed people and the situations, and they try to publicize it on social media, and where they use it to collect the funds or collect the resources, or to bring in the NGOs together to work for these distressed people. So these are certain organizations which are working using the technology for social good. So you can just go, DataKind collects certain kinds of data for all the organization and provides it for processing, and it for helping the vulnerable. So these are the NGOs which use technology for social good. And now coming to the economic element. This is another constituent of the mega environment, which is another major constituent of the mega environment. Now the economic element relates to the process of producing, distributing and consuming wealth. And most nations, they follow mixed economy. Even our country follows the mixed economy, which is a mix of the capitalism and socialism component. Now in capitalism, economic activity is governed by market forces, and the means of production is privately owned by individuals, either directly or through corporations. In socialism, the means of productions are owned by the state. So economic activity is governed by state plan in socialism. So basically all the NGOs, though they are not controlled by the government factors, but they are of course having some regulations. So economic element plays a major role for the NGOs also, because they too need funds, they too need wealth to function and to improve, to grow in a society. When we talk about economic empowerment, so there are many concepts, many examples, and we have discussed certain examples in the concept of NGOs, where the empowerment of women took place through Grameen banks or self-help groups, etc. So the NGOs, they target the vulnerable population, and the technology can be used to open access to economic resources. Again, the technological constituents are working in relation to economic resources. Economic resources are working in relation to the regulatory norms or regulatory elements. So you see, all the elements of the mega environment, they are working in tandem. So economic resources may be used like to provide the jobs, to provide the skill development, to use it for the farming sector. And for example, a very recent example of mapping of migrant workers in states to provide them jobs comes under economic empowerment. And there the economic element has been used in the mega environment. Now, if we talk about the other constituents, though we have been talking about these constituents, there are other constituents like regulatory mechanism, regulatory element, political elements, social elements. They are all interrelated to each other. We'll just touch upon these constituents. Regulatory constituent, it consists of the planning of the government plans, like 5-year plans we have, the promotional aspects, the regulation, the regulatory norms related to NGOs and other voluntary sectors, or the CSR norms, the corporate social responsibility norms. So these are the regulatory constituents, and majorly they are framed by the regulatory bodies, specifically government in our case. We have social constituents also, and these social constituents, they includes the attitudes, the values, the norms, the beliefs, the behaviors, and the demographic trends of individuals, the people constituting a particular community or the nation, etc. So these are the factors, these are the elements which we'll discuss in pestle analysis also. We have political constituents also, which consists of the management of public affairs and their impact on an organization. We have seen this in ETOP analysis also. And the political environment, which has a close relationship with the economic system and the economic policies. So these are the constituents of the mega environment. To conclude, the constituents of mega environment or general environment, they include the technological elements, economic elements, regulatory elements, political elements, and social elements. And out of these, the major elements are the technological and the economic elements. So this is what is the mega environment. Now we will be discussing the micro environment in the next session, which will form the complete environment, the whole external environment. Thank you so much.